Matt Kramer's answer to the question illustrates the grounds for doubting that there really is a theory of legal positivism. Of course, there are theories that are self-described as legal positivists, and one doesn't record them. And as John says, there are historical chains of thought which link those who were concerned or thought it was an important thing to say that I'm a positivist. And we can do that, and that's a part of the history of ideas. But the thought that there is a theory of law, and it's positivist, really only becomes particularly theoretically interesting as opposed to historically interesting if one thinks that's really the right theory of law, and then it's distinctively positivist. And I think it's reasonably clear from what Matt says that it's rather hard to say what is distinctive about any theory that describes itself as positivist and also has some sort of plausible claim to be the right one for anyone to hold. If you think of Matt's account of types, first of all there was prescriptive legal positivism, and there were two sorts he mentioned of that. One that says adjudication should be based on non-moral considerations. Well, this is searching my limited knowledge of history. The persons, the theorists who have most vigorously maintained that adjudication should be based on exclusively on non-moral considerations, exclusively on what happens to have been enacted in law by legislation, are Aristotle and Aquinas, who want to restrict judges to the settled law. So you might say Aristotle and Aquinas are notable prescriptive positivists, and that would be something true and in a way interesting to say. Aquinas, I think, should take credit in the history of legal theory for at least popularizing the fairly recently invented term positive, invented in this sort of, for this kind of context, and popularizing the idea that law, human law, the sort of law that's paradigmatic, central case of law for both moralists and political theorists, and you might say legal theorists, is positive law. That's the central case, and Aquinas is the great proponent of that. But then that's going to cause problems down the track when we say positivism is the theory of those who assail natural law theory, which is Matt's style, because they also want to cast Aristotle and Aquinas, and to a good reason, as natural law theorists. So that was the first type of prescriptive positivism, and it doesn't really seem very distinctive. Second sort was, and the exemplars were Hart and Shaw, those who give an account of the nature of law, which includes moral considerations, such as those that Hart mentions in the disastrous pages at the end of chapter 9, which must be the absolute low point of 20th century legal theory. The pages where he says that if you think an unjust law is not a law, you must think that there are no unjust laws. That's astounding pages. So Hart exemplifies something, but what is quite mysterious. He's saying we ought not to adopt natural law theory because it makes us immorally incurious about the justice of laws. But what is his account of the nature of law? And Matt said nothing about that would make it distinctively positive.